Hello and welcome back to another Walking Dead video, and today I'm going to talk about the news that The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon might be going on for a lot longer than we originally thought. And this is all because the actor for Daryl Dixon, Reedus, has recently mentioned that he can see himself playing Daryl Dixon for 6 or 7 more years. And to me, that is insane. By then he would have played Daryl for nearly 20 years. And that means if we're doing 6 or 7 more years, we're looking at Daryl Dixon potentially getting up to 7 or 8 seasons. And that is a lot longer than I expected for this show. I was originally thinking Daryl Dixon would be a 5-season show, but they are really rushing out the film for this show with season 2 not even out yet, and they're talking about starting season 3 and filming season 4 also in Spain. And that is quite mad. And it maybe has me a little worried, as Norman Reedus is saying 6 or 7 more years playing Daryl Dixon. How will they pace the show? Because the whole premise of Daryl Dixon is that Daryl got stuck in France because he went out to go find Rick. And with all the characters and actors, like everyone talking about, oh yes, we're not actually gonna have Rick and Daryl reunite, it's not planned. Norman Reedus being like, I have heard nothing, but I would like to not reunite with Rick, but have Daryl come across Rick's grave instead of reuniting him. So it looks like the end goal of this show is not reuniting with Rick. It's just Norman Reedus kind of driving around Europe basically and having walkers here, 2 seasons here, 2 seasons here. So it looks like you get 2 seasons in Spain, 3 and 4, 5 and 6 maybe you're in Portugal, 7 and 8 maybe you're in England, and that could be the show. And that is pretty insane. What gets me worried though about maybe we're going to have Daryl Dixon going on up until season 8 is that, as I said, you have a finite amount of time with, okay, Daryl left for this reason, but he has never found it. And also, more importantly, Norman Reedus is not a young actor. He is pushing his mid-50s. 6 or 7 more years' time, he's going to be in his 60s. And would it be fun watching a 60-year-old Daryl trying to do things? It might get a bit comical. He's pushing his limit on how long he can play this character, I think. And he is not a young man. And it definitely has to be something that is acknowledged at some point, that Daryl is almost old enough to be a grandfather. That's how old he is. And it was the same case with Lenny James. He got 59 in the final season of Fear the Walking Dead. And then once he was done with that show, he wanted to move on with his career. He didn't want to play action-heavy roles because he's now a 60-year-old man. A lot of the cast is starting to age up quite a lot. And it seems like AMC are really trying to focus on the original cast, but they're getting old. I think one of the youngest of the main cast now is Maggie, and Long Cohan is in her 40s now. So you have some very old cast, and they can't keep them going in this franchise for 6 or 7 more years. And with Daryl Dixon, 6 or 7 more years, I'm also thinking Melissa McBride. Are we going to have her for 6 or 7 more years? I doubt that, because she is older than Norman Reedus, and she wasn't in season 1 because of some issues with her father. Maybe she wouldn't want to be in Europe for 7 more years filming in Europe because she has an aging family and she needs to go back there and care for any of her family that's left. I don't know if her father's dead or her mother's dead, but she's old herself. And I don't see Melissa McBride staying around for 6 or 7 more years like Norman Reedus would want to. So we're going to have a period where Carol comes in, stays a couple seasons, and then leaves again, and the show goes back to being the Daryl Dixon show, and it's just him for 3 or 4 more seasons. And it just feels off. These shows would work better if they were 4 or 5 seasons. And when Long Cohan said she wanted Dead City to do 5 seasons and that was it, I was happy with that, and I thought that was the kind of new average for the shows, but no. So Dead City, and I think Dead City is the show that could last longer than Daryl Dixon in my opinion, because Daryl Dixon, the whole point of Daryl Dixon was that Daryl was going to find Rick. Apparently that's not happening. And then you have Long Cohan being like, I want 5 seasons of Dead City and out. I think that could have done 7 seasons easily. But now you have this show being like, oh, we want to do 8, 9 seasons, 7 seasons. It's quite mad, and I think that they are just trying to rush it and milking it. That's what I think. It's getting me worried that they're milking the franchise and not being like, okay, we have an aging cast, they've aged out of their roles. Let's make a new spin-off with some younger cast that can keep the franchise going instead of relying on these fan favourites because they're getting geriatric at this point. It is cool that we will not be seeing Daryl Dixon leave anytime soon, but it's like, are they going to end the show and maybe put Daryl on a different show so we can carry on playing Daryl? Probably not. It's just going to be, they're going to stretch the amount of time before Daryl eventually reunites with Rick, or as Norman Reedus once, finds his grave. And that is just my opinion on this news, that Norman Reedus wants to continue playing Daryl for almost half a decade and more. Please tell me down below, are you excited about this potential news that we might be seeing a lot more of Daryl Dixon in the future for a very long time? Or are you like me thinking that the show would have been better as maybe a shorter show and we leave Daryl at a happy place before he gets drained to the point where he becomes a husk of a character? Because I think 8 seasons with Daryl Dixon might be a bit too much. There's only so much story you could tell with this character, and with the dilemma at the end of season 1, we can't stretch that out for 6, 7 more seasons. So I'd like to know your thoughts down below. But it's been today, so goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you later.